What's up, Lemurs? I'm the Lemur Expert, and in this video I will show you 5 tips to crush your friends right from the beginning of your next Catan game. The outcome of a game is often determined by the placement of your initial settlements. Therefore, knowing these tips will help you maximize your chances to win the next time you play. Alright, enough with the intro, let's jump into the video. Tip number 1. Place your initial settlements on frequently rolled number spots. The 6 and 8 are statistically the highest rolled numbers on the Catan board. The next most probable numbers to be rolled are the 5 and the 9. When you place your settlements, you should keep this in mind. Let me show you an example. On this board, I was the second person to place their settlement. When I look at the board, I consider all of these as potential spots for my first settlement. These are the highest producing resource spots from what I have to choose from. The next tips will narrow down how to choose between all of these potential spots. Tip number 2, prioritize ore and wheat resources. You should prioritize ore and wheat because they are the 2 resources needed to build cities, which are really powerful. You also need these resources to buy development cards, which can be useful as well. I should note that when I say to prioritize ore and wheat, it just means to view them as slightly more valuable than the other resources. The other resources are still valuable. Let's see an example of how to implement this tip. If we look back at this board, we can see that there's really only one good wheat tile, so we should prioritize getting a settlement on it. In this specific case, ore isn't as important since the ore tiles all have relatively low numbers. Tip number 3, pick spots that have complementary resources. No matter what strategy you commit to, you should try to occupy spots with resources that complement each other. Ore, wheat, and sheep go together very well to build cities and to get development cards. Brick and wood also complement each other because you can build lots of roads and get close to building settlements. Now let's look back at this board from tip number 1 and say that we would like to pick the 5, 9, 10 spot. What would complement it? Well, first, we would need to get some wheat to supplement the settlement building material. The 3 wheat is probably too low, so we would want a spot on the 6 wheat. If we could get these placements, it would give us complementary resources. Tip number 4, diversify your numbers. You should try to occupy as many high rolled numbers as possible, so that you're getting a card on most rolls. You don't want to double up on the exact same numbers usually, because you will go long stretches without getting cards. If we look back at this board, this tip shows us what we shouldn't do. We should not place our settlements on both of these 8-4-3 spots. It's too risky of a strategy, and you're putting all your eggs in one basket when you have plenty of other choices. You can pair this 8-4-3 spot with the 6-9-3, for example, and it will diversify your numbers. Tip number 5, predict your opponent's moves. This is the most advanced tip and my personal favorite, because it separates the strong from the weak. You master this through experience and calculating which spots will be taken. Let me show you how you can predict your opponent's moves. On this board, we already determined the best spots from tip number 1. Since I'm in the second spot, after I put my settlement down, there will be 4 settlements placed before I can place my next one. I have to account for this. I would like to put my settlement on the 5, 6, 11, because it's the highest producing spot that touches the 6 wheat. Now let's see how we can predict where everyone else will go. Chances are that most of these high production spots from tip number 1 will be taken. Also, there's a high chance that the other wheat spot will be taken, since others also want wheat. Therefore, I would predict 4 out of these 6 spots will be taken. I chose to look at 6 spots just to be sure which spot I could get. So what does this leave me with? The answer is the 9, 10, 11. This is great for me because I have followed all of the tips. I occupy frequently rolled numbers, I prioritized wheat, or didn't matter as much since they were all in low numbers. I got complementary resources, I diversified my numbers, and lastly, I predicted where my opponents would place, so I knew where I could get my other settlement. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and can use these tips the next time you play. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on a single one of our epic videos.